one away from the greatest hit of all time.
Sunday afternoon, Wrigley Field, Chicago. Pete Rose equals Ty Cobb. That's hit 4,191. It comes off Reggie Patterson. That was Rose's second hit of the day. He wasn't expected to play, but tonight at Riverfront Stadium, he's ready to go after hit number 4,192. The Cincinnati Reds are on the air. The fun, the action, the excitement of Major League Baseball with the Cincinnati Reds. Everybody, welcome to Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. Standing room only tonight. I'm Ken Wilson along with Joe Morgan. Well, Pete has finally gotten to the big hit.
Well, Ken, I know he's excited. He tells me he's not, but he's got to be excited. This is like, to me, would be like hitting, every time he goes to bat, it'd be like hitting in the 7th game of the World Series with the winning run on base and the whole world watching.
And Pete is standing by with our own Steve Physioc.
Pete, you'll match up against Lamar Hoyt tonight. What kind of pitcher is he, and what will you be looking for?
Tremendous pitcher. He won a Cy Young a couple years ago, and I've only faced him one game. That was last time over in San Diego, and I think he put an 0 for 3 on me. But he's a very good pitcher as far as throwing a lot of strikes, and he's a very good competitor. And he throws fastball, slider, curveball, and changeup. He throws all 4 pitches, and he throws a lot of strikes. And he's a battler. I learned that in the All-Star game when I sat next to him and watched him start that game. As a matter of fact, he was the most valuable player in the All-Star game, I believe. So, you know, I have my work cut out for me. But hopefully, if I don't get any hits, the rest of the guys will.
All right, let's go back to Ken and Joe.
While Pete Rose and the Reds certainly are the center of attention tonight, Joe, there's another side. The Padres are in town. I wonder about Dick Williams managing.
Well, I talked to Dick before the ball game, and he says that he's going to manage just like he would in any other game. But can you imagine Dick Williams intentionally walking Pete Rose with the winning run on second base and Pete needing that one hit? 50,000 people will come out of the stands and kill him.
Pete Rose ready to go. Lamar Hoyt on the mound. Ron Robinson goes for the Reds. Pete tonight after number 4,192.
Give me a light. Bud Light. If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get. So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best. Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Cincinnati Reds baseball is being brought to you locally by your best quality Ford dealers, who are having their final sell down on 7.7% financing on selected models. And by Delta Airlines, serving more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there.
Now is the final sell down at your best quality Ford dealer's biggest inventory sale in history. Because of the recent strike, they're overstocked and prices are slashed. Fantastic savings. Now is the final sell down on 7.7% financing on all new 85 Ford cars and trucks in stock. Or get a check direct from Ford for up to $1,000 on selected models. 7.7 financing or cash direct from Ford that could save you $1,000 or more. Hurry. Now is the final sell down at your best quality Ford dealers now.
Some people like the taste of Coke, and some people like the taste of Pepsi, but some people go out of their way for the taste of RC.
Executive producer of Reds Baseball is Lou Rainoni. Director, Roy Alfers. Network coordinator, Tom Mills. This is a multimedia sports production on the Cincinnati Reds Television Network. The fans continue to file in here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. As we mentioned, a capacity crowd. In fact, standees will be here for this most historic moment in this great game of baseball. What has happened, of course, as you might expect, there are a few fans that have not been able to file into Riverfront Stadium yet. Thus, the scheduled 7:35 start Eastern Daylight Time will be delayed a little bit, and we'll be another 15 or 20 minutes until we get this historic game started. The Rose family here early, as you might expect, on this big day for number 14. Brothers, sisters, mom, they're all here getting ready to watch Pete tonight. And Steve Physioc is down on the field.
This certainly is an exciting time. A sellout crowd here at Riverfront Stadium. I'm here with Pete Rose Jr. And Pete, you haven't seen anything like this since 1976. Can you imagine what's going to go through and down your spine when you and your father come out just to toss?
Oh, it's going to be great. It's awesome, really. Cold chills everywhere. I've had them the whole day. It's going to be great.
Well, how did you start your day?
Well, I woke up about 12:45, ate some McDonald's, watched a little television, and came down to the ballpark.
And visited with your pop. Now, does he really feel any of this pressure at all?
He's psyched up. You can tell in BP. He had 2 home runs in BP. That's first time in a long time. He's just getting psyched.
Well, Commissioner Uberoth predicted he would get it on his 2nd time at bat. Have you made a prediction?
His 3rd time, because I want to see the fans get crazy here.
And just the excitement as you watch this. You said it's nothing like you've seen since 1976.
Yeah, well, I mean, the crowd in Cincinnati, it's just, I haven't seen this since the World Series in '76, and I don't think there was as many people when he got 3-6, 3-1 in Philadelphia, so it's just a big crowd.
Who in your family is here?
Well, my mom, my sister's here, and my mom, a couple of my buddies from school's here.
This is something you'll tell your grandchildren about, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Petey, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Pete Rose Jr., the son of Pete Rose Sr., who's looking for base hit number 4192 tonight. Let's go back to Ken and Joe.
All right, Fizz, so everybody is in on the act here. And Joe, of course, the fans wondering, what does Joe Morgan think? You played so long with Pete. What's this all mean in your mind?
Well, as I've said a lot of times, really statistics don't mean that much to me when you're talking about Pete Rose. The thing that separates Pete Rose from all the other players I've been around is the intensity with which he plays the game and the way that rubs off on the players around him. That's what's important. The 4192 only stands out in other people's mind, but those are the things that stand out in my mind when I think about Pete Rose.
Biggest game you've ever been a part of, either as a player or a fan?
7th game of the World Series in 1975, I guess, in Boston. It was the first World Championship for the Reds in about 40 years, and that was the biggest and most exciting game for me.
And tonight, I know the statistics don't mean anything, but let's go down the road. Will this be something special when you think back on it?
Well, it'll be special. It was special for me to watch Pete get his 3,000th base hit. I didn't see him get his 4,000th hit, but this will be exciting just for the fact of it is a record and it is a monumental occasion. But as far as, just numbers, we don't know where he's going to stop. So this may not be his last hit.
When you came to the Cincinnati Reds, and of course Pete was already established here, did you have any idea that he would go on this long, even after you played with him a while?
As recently as 2 years ago, I didn't think he would go this far, because our last year together in 1983 in Philadelphia, at the end of the season, he was a platoon player. He was not even playing every day. And in order to catch Ty Cobb, he had to play every day. He went to Montreal. He became a guy that was playing once a week. So I really didn't feel like he was going to make it. The best thing ever happened to Pete was they needed a manager here in Cincinnati, and the management here was smart enough to bring him back and give him the opportunity to get at bats, which he's turned into base hits, and now he's going to turn into the record.
You had obviously a very long and successful career, and to really be a true outstanding athlete, to me, endurance is as important as some individual feats maybe over a year or two. So you understand playing a long time, but Pete, man, he's really played a long time. I mean, that's got to really impress you.
Well, a story I'll tell you. 1965 was my first full year in the major leagues, and I came up with Houston, and Pete had been here a year already. So he saw me play, and he said, "Joe, you're going to be a great player one of these days." So the next year he came to me and says, "Man, you're going to be making $100,000 in 2 years." He said, "You are going to be one of the greatest players ever." So Pete and I kind of had a friendship from the beginning, and we played against each other for 7 years before I came here to Cincinnati. But I never thought that he'd play this long. No one did, except for Johnny Bench. I have to give Bench credit. Bench said Pete will play until he just gets completely tired and they tear the uniform off him.
We're just about ready to go. Pete Rose has to be getting very nervous now, even Pete.
Yeah.
A little bit of a late start. The crowd's still filing in. That's why they're delaying the start of the game. So let's go back. The hitting coach of the Reds and third base coach Billy DeMars is with Steve Physioc.
Well, Ken, you can just about hear the swell of the crowd. It's because Pete Rose has just made his way up the steps into the Reds dugout. I've asked Billy DeMars to be with me right now simply because he was there in Philadelphia when Pete was in Philadelphia. He was in Montreal with Pete. And Billy, you were also there in 1972 when Steve Carlton won 15 in a row. You were there to watch Lou Brock, and you saw a similar kind of excitement.
I'll tell you what, Stevie, it's the same kind of electricity in the ballpark tonight. When you mention those things about Carlton in 72, when you know, we only won 62 games as a team. He won 27, and when he went for his 20th win, 15 straight, we had a packed house, and boy, when he popped his head out of the dugout, they just went wild. And as soon as Pete Rose steps out of that dugout, these fans in this ballpark is going to go crazy.
And you know it's going to happen tonight.
Well, I mean, like I've said before, you know, there's electricity. It gives you goosebumps, sort of, you know, when you're down on the field here. And if you can't get excited, you'll never get excited.
Well, Pete Rose has just made his way out, and right now he is playing catch with his son, Pete Jr., and I can tell you right now, there's got to be goosebumps going up and down their spine.
I'll tell you what, it's a great feeling, and it's really great to be in a sport where you can, you know, go through something like this once in a while. Not only like this thing that we're going through tonight, plus the World Series and playoffs. This is what it's all about, and it's just exactly like this.
Well, Pete says he sees no pressure, and Pete Jr. says he sees no pressure, but as Pete made his way, he licked his lips. You know he has to be a little bit nervous about this special night.
Well, you know, it's funny. Someone asked me something before. You know, he always calls me Billy Bob. You know, I think there's a place down in Texas called. So that's been my nickname since we were with the Phillies. And tonight he walked in, he said, "Hi, Billy." I said, "Hey, wait a minute. 6 months it's been Billy Bob, and all of a sudden tonight it's just Billy." So it's different. I said, let's not have no change here. Let's have the same stuff.
This is indeed a special night for Pete Rose, Sr., as he tries to break the all-time hit record. Let's go back now to Ken Wilson and Joe Morgan.
So the crowd continues to file in, and everybody awaits the start of the festivities tonight. And of course, an international audience tonight. This is not just any viewing audience, the 50,000 plus here at Riverfront, but not only around North America, but around the world here to see this monumental event. And I know for a ball player, you guys go out, you play 162 games a year, some before 5,000 people. Now all of a sudden, here you go, and everybody pays attention to a big hit, and that's gotta grind you a little bit.
Well, I think most of the players are understanding, because this has been a record that, you know, for so long people thought would never even be approached. You know, it's like the 56-game hitting streak. And oddly enough, Pete was the one that's come closest to that in the last few years. So I think the players are excited. I think this is an exciting time for the players on both sides. Look who we have here.
Well, Pete Rose is on the field. Joe Morgan is here, and also with us is a fellow by the name of Johnny Bench. Hey, nice to see you show up.
I don't understand the big deal. Joe and I together have more hits than Pete.
Yeah, together, right? I had 2 in Little League, so that really adds to the total. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I told Davey last night if he plays another 17 or 18 years, he's going to catch Pete. Joe and I had the same opportunity. I don't know why we didn't stay any longer. Maybe it was good sense. It's a great evening, Kenny, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see Joe here. I think we both understand the importance of what this night means, because it's amazing. I'm telling people that Pete has gone through everything in his life. He's done everything, and it's all come out right. And he's here tonight, and it's got to be right, because there's so much respect for him, the fans and everything else. He's turned this city around. He's turned baseball around for Cincinnati, and it's good to see it. It's just great to be here.
What's your prediction? Second at bat?
I'm going to look for the third at bat. I think Lamar's going to work around him, and he wondered, Marge has not called him, but Marge, he wondered what he would do if he walked him every time, because then they got the full house tomorrow night. He said, "You think I could get back in town if I hit him on the wrist the first pitch?" I think it'll be the third time.
What about you, Joe? You have any idea?
I'm choosing the second time simply because I think the first time Pete will be a little nervous, and I think Lamar Hart will be nervous enough that he may even walk him. Not intentionally, but he may walk him.
And your own choice. The only choice you have is he'll hit the first pitch he's thrown to him.
Hey, I know what it's going to be. It's like, as predicted, it's going to be a base hit to center field, line drive over second base. But there he is, Lamar Hoyt. I think the interesting thing, John, is that Hoyt hasn't pitched in 3 weeks and coming off a tender shoulder.
Well, he's had a problem, mainly because San Diego changed their rotation 18 days before the strike date. And Dick Williams wanted to win all the games. He changed them to 4-day rotations, and it really kind of messed up everybody's arm. Lamar, you know, is a great competitor. And I think for Pete, the one thing he'll want to do is wrap a solid hit. I mean, he will not want a bleeder or a bunt or anything else. He wants a line drive, and this guy will change speeds on him, but he hits off-speed pitch as well.
So there's a little bit of mystery, I would say, there. Peter Ueberhoff is on hand, and of course he's here for the historic moment. Marge Schott is with him. Chub Feeney is also on the scene. All the big guys are here. Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench. The scene is set, and now it's a case of getting the crowd in to see Pete Rose. And well, you fellas know about this city as much as anyone, having played here. And Joe, I think they're right. And hey, wait, get everybody in the ballpark.
Well, this is unbelievable. I mean, this is like a World Series situation. Everyone downtown was asking me today, when do you think Pete will get it? What at bat? So I think it is a big deal, and this city gets excited. This is a baseball town, and I love it here.
Well, they're ready to go.
The one thing that you want to worry about and think about is what happens after the hit.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't think there'll be a letdown, but I think Joe and I both know that there is a certain letdown, and the certain coverage, the media, and all the press that's going on, there is a letdown, and he'll be able to cope with it because he's managing. That will help an awful lot, but it's still there, and it's still got to exist. But for this one at bat, or for the next 3 at bats, whatever it is, it's going to be a turn on, because when the night that I had for me, to walk into this stadium and have everybody doing what they're doing on their feet, it's a marvelous feeling to know that people appreciate what you've done over the years. And this is one way that they tell, by coming out, being so vocal, and hopefully they'll come back after this for sure, whether Pete gets the hit tonight or not.
John, when you go back and look at your career, and you had the big night here, 1983, September 17th, hit home run number 389 that we'll all remember, that line drive. Is that the biggest moment? What's the biggest memory for you in your career now?
Well, I would say winning the first World Series until I had that night, because I don't think there's anything that you can play for 17 years, 23 years, and when people stand up and applaud you for all the things that you've done, and you never know how they appreciate you. I mean, especially in other parks, but your home park, they've been good, but when you go throughout the league and people stand up, the biggest night day for him was in Chicago when they stood up like that. That had to be just a big, big adrenaline booster, I'm telling you. And tonight, he's loving it. This is Pete Rose vintage. I mean, this is him. This is exactly what he loves. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better center stage, and he'll use it.
Well, the crowd is excited, to say the least. There he is, the Rose group taking the field, Pete leading the way, and that's the way it always goes. John, good to see you. Thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Johnny Bench, soon, of course, to enter the Hall of Fame. And after Bench, it'll be Morgan, it'll be Rose. But tonight, the international spotlight is on Pete Rose. He is 1 hit shy of breaking Ty Cobb's all-time hit record. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Cincinnati, and now our national anthem.
Light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The stage is set. There is a look at the Reds' defense for tonight's game. An outfield of Nick Yasaski, Eddie Milner, and Dave Parker. The infield, Buddy Bell, Dave Concepcion, Ron Oster, Pete Rose, Bo Diaz, the catcher, and Ron Robinson, the right-hander, on the mound. Taking a look at the lineup now for the San Diego Padres. Batting first at shortstop,